So I have been fighting Twitch and its encoding settings. Um, I might actually be running into some trouble here because everything is loading all at once, and that will probably affect my that'll probably affect my not my bit rate, but my like drop frames and such. Hopefully that doesn't. But yeah, so basically right now I'm struggling with getting the quality settings for the stream. I am hoping this is the last one, at which point it makes all of my complaining completely irrelevant. Um, but yeah, I gotta get the stream properly up and running before I can start Hollow Knight. So my apologies for the extended start. The extended like talkie period. But I do need to. There we go. Okay, yeah. So the thing I always worry about is the moment when I do finally break the when I do finally break the bad run of only having like the full resolution videos. Um, it's like the one where I've got the super rambly and like bad intro. So sorry about that. Hello, people on YouTube or otherwise watching VODs. I am incompetent, um, but I am ready for some Hollow Knight. Okay, so I know I was really chatty last week, and that definitely it was pretty clear when the downturn happened in terms of the quality of the runs. We've seen the artist, we know the battles that we're up against, so really at this point here, it's just a matter of execution. I did go for a long walk before I started or before I hit the start streaming button. So it actually took a little more out of me than I was expecting. My God, I just put out a video. Sorry, if you can just give me one quick second here. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, here are the stakes. So I'm ready for Hollow Knight tonight, but I'm a little conscious of the fact that I kind of let myself get a bit too talky, which, by the way, I don't actually necessarily think is the worst thing for the stream, because I know for some people that is the draw. But I think that there is a better, I think there's also a balance that I can strike for myself to sort of make sure that I make some progress in the game. Because, of course, the thing about Hollow Knight is, while I really enjoy it, I am also conscious of the fact that by not finishing it, I'm preventing myself from doing other things that also interest me. And I want to do the game justice. I have no interest whatsoever in rushing through the game. I mean, I've spent this much time with it so far. Why not, properly see it through to the end? But, there's ways that I can, I could definitely be a little more diligent in terms of the stream. So this one I'm going to try and be a little bit more focused on the fights. But like I said, I'm actually a little more worn out from my outing than I thought it would be. It's mostly because I like bringing a lot of books with me. I can't decide which ones I want to read when I'm out. And so I was kind of carrying a heavy bag. And so like it occurred to me that I was out for like more than an hour, kind of at a fairly brisk pace walking with a pretty heavy backpack on. So it's like, yeah, okay, I'm not exhausted, but I'm also like, oh yeah, I was actually kind of out and like sweating a bit. It was probably more the temperature than anything. But yeah, so I'm a little less focused than I thought I would be for the start, but that's fine because normally I need some warm up anyway. But yeah, the aim tonight is definitely going to be to try and see the end of the Pantheon of the Artist. I don't think I need any warm ups. I think just getting beaten by the bosses is going to be enough of a warm up, and hopefully we'll be able to make progress and then move on to our next challenge. I of course always reserve the right to just say, you know what, this is not worth it. I'm just gonna go beat the Hollow Knight, but that's no fun. Ah, nuts. Alright, that was a little silly, but... Alright, not a bad start. That was a little silly of me. That was extra silly of me. So I'm gonna get the extra hit in, but that's life. It's funny I rely on the double jump because I certainly didn't need it the first time I took this guy on. I really should have done the shout. But yeah, I never needed the double jump because I didn't have it when I first went after him, but I'm so used to the added precision now that it's become mandatory. Oops. Okay, well, I dodged the damage, which is I don't think I've ever actually properly dodged those before, so that's a little progress. Mosquito Controller, how you doing tonight? How was my game conference thing? Not bad at all. I went over on my runtime, which I really don't like doing because there's some really good developers that present at those things, and obviously any time that I take in excess is sort of technically time that goes away. But one thing I really like, there's a designer who I'm quite fond of in the local community named Eric Billingsley. So he develops under the name Sparse Game Dev. He did a game called Spring Falls, which it's quite inexpensive on Steam. You can also get it on iOS. And he asked a question. So one of the things that I like in presentations, he asked a question which was quite literally the very next thing that I was going to say during the presentation. And so one of the things that's nice about that is it means that people are like engaged with what you're saying. Like when you talk about data stuff, it can be really hard to gauge whether or not like people are sort of like registering what you're saying. It's not even that they're not paying attention. It's just like, are you potentially talking above their level? So, like, I definitely don't think people anticipating parts of the presentation and questions is necessarily a bad thing. So that was nice. And then one of the organizers sort of said that they like it when I come in with data stuff, which was encouraging for me because I definitely don't make games, so it's about the only thing I can present to the local community. And then, of course, my intention is always to turn these kinds of things into some kind of output that people can read, like usually a blog or some kind of essay or video or something that people can watch or otherwise experience. Oops. Okay. I'm slightly improving on the dodging, but it still needs a little work. Oh, I meant to do one of those. Oh. But yeah, like, that sort of thing to me is always kind of the dress rehearsal. Oh man, I hope I don't throw away the run on this. Oops. It's always the most careless stuff I get hit by. But yeah, so the local meetup's always a weekly thing. I do feel a little bad that I don't always get to cover the stuff that I want to because it falls on the Wednesday. But I think that time is often well spent. I don't quite get it as often as I used to, and I think it's just because I'm playing more mainstream games overall. But I usually, or I used to hear at least, where do you find these cool indies from? And honestly, like, the answer is just like looking for them. If you live in a somewhat large-ish city, chances are there's some kind of game development community that you. Oh man. All right, we're back on track. But yeah, so chances are, even in a medium-sized city, there's probably going to be some local developers who you can get in touch with. And at least my own experience, like, it can be tough. I remember when I was working in Vancouver in the film industry. What was the name of the game that you just mentioned again? Tell you what, let me. Sorry, I don't like pausing the action too much, but supporting local devs is definitely worth the time. So it was called Spring Falls, but let me bring up the Steam page for you. Hey, Paper Dupless. Actually, it's got a pretty good rating on Steam, too. But yeah, $7.99 Canadian right now. It has gone on sale in the past. I don't know how deeply, but like on it. So like, obviously, this is other people's money that I'm talking about. So I want to be kind of careful and conscious about that. But like the thing is that like, what are you really gonna get in terms of the discount? Like for me, if it's like half off, it's like, okay, so I save myself like $3.50. Like, that's not really gonna make or break me. For some people, that is a meaningful difference, right? Like, there's a reason the game goes on sale. But that is definitely one if you like, even if you like just lightly like puzzle games. That is definitely one I would recommend. The last puzzle is devastating. But Eric is a very cool guy. I will tell you, if you want to know... I did not know that was part of the itch bundle. Yeah, actually, also... Okay, if it's on itch, I believe itch is having its creator... Okay, actually, sorry. I'm really sorry to pause the game here, but this is really worth mentioning. I believe the creator appreciation event is going on. Which means 100% of the revenues go to developers. Let me just make sure. Yep, that's today, so... Oh, cool. It's also 25% off. So, as long as you don't mind not getting a Steam key... you can actually buy it 25% off on itch.io, and I happen to know that if it's today, 100% of the revenue will go to the developer. So, yeah, there is another place that you can go. Actually, I'm kind of curious now. I'm super sorry, especially to those who are not who are watching the VOD after the fact. I do want to take a second here and see. Holy crap! I had no idea Eric had... I knew Eric had worked on other stuff, but I had no idea that his... Okay, there's a bunch of other... There's a bunch of other stuff. I'm going to have to check out his itch page later. Spring Falls is a great puzzle game, but yeah, it gets tough going down that mountain. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks that. But yeah, I will also let you know if you guys want to... Okay, actually, here's one where people will add, where do you get these good, cool indies from? Eric is currently... So he worked on a game you've probably heard of, Cuphead. But he is also working on an indie, which is probably one that may be on some of your radar. It used to be called Secret Legend. It is now called Tunic, which I don't have a link for, but I'm sure one of you will be able to put inside of chat. And so that's kind of I guess people are calling it like an isometric Zelda kind of game. We were talking about that last week during Industries of Titan, because the audio... Power Up Audio, one of the co-founders, Kevin, was in the channel, and he was sort of the one to bring that to my attention. Thank you, Paper Dupless. Oh. But yeah, my understanding is that's currently what the developer of Spring Falls is working on, obviously in collaboration with the Tunic developers. I believe the Tunic developer is based in Nova Scotia, so another Canadian. But yeah, needless to say, so like, I've never been... So, like, I like supporting indies in the sense that generally you will find interesting games and ones that maybe it can be very rewarding to sort of not promote, but like to talk about, because either there's a community that appreciates the game and is happy to see you playing it, or alternatively, you are helping a game find its audience, which can be sort of rewarding in its own way. But one thing I do feel fairly strongly about is supporting Canadian developers. And this can be, I actually don't distinguish between large and small. So like Red Barrels is an independent Canadian developer, but they're not exactly small anymore. Kit Fox Games is an independent Canadian developer that's quite successful, but I'd say they're still reasonably small. Brace Yourself Games is growing, but they've got only a few games in their catalog right now. But I'm also super stoked about the fact that Apex Legends is made in Vancouver now. The Coalition is based in Vancouver. I don't reflexively like something just because it's Canadian. Like, Canadians can make bad games too. But it is one thing that I really like. And it's getting cool that I'm getting to know a few more, like have more friends who are involved in the various kind of levels of game development. And as a result, excuse me, it's nice to be able to see them, move from strength to strength. Or to be able to just kind of see exactly the range of creative expression that the Canadian games industry is doing, particularly in the case of games which I hadn't heard of, but through the grapevine. Actually, there's another great one. Sorry, this will be the last one that I put out right now. But there's a Kickstarter for a Canadian developer, another Ottawa developer. I think this might be their first game. But let me see if I can find it. I don't believe this is live yet, but you should be able to see it. Haste, which I don't know if it has a trailer yet. I definitely got to see it. I actually know a place where you can see. Oh yeah, here you go. It has a... It has a Steam page too. But that's another thing coming out of the Ottawa development scene. So, and that's one that is looking for financing. So when it goes live, for those of you who are interested in a real-time card game, there's another one for your radar. I also needed to just psychologically steel myself for the confrontation with Marmu. Brutal. Okay, I'm down one mask for Nosk, but we should be able to manage it. I did say I was going to be a little less chatty today, and I've totally not met it, but again, I gotta... I do think the supporting Canadian developers thing is one... that's one thing I'm definitely willing to make the exception for. Even if that support is like moral support. I think that's one of the rare times I've actually outrun Nosk. Okay, this is always a part I struggle with, but... Oh, that's a beautiful spot to get him. I don't think I'm going to be able to repeat it, but... Oh, nuts. I hesitated. You're kidding me. Ugh. I'm really bad for just jumping into him. Oof. That's 2 masks lost in a stupid and unnecessary fashion. Fortunately, I know how to get, well, usually I know how to get the third hit for my health. Ah, that was self-sabotage. Okay, not great, but... Oh, nuts. Again, just taking a lot of unnecessary hits from Nosk on this one. I don't even remember what comes after this. Oh, right, the Fluke Marm. Hey, how you doing, Night Valian? There were some links that I put in chat that might interest you. There's a real-time card game that's going to be getting a Kickstarter. There's a good erosion-themed puzzle game. There is an isometric game with a fox, which is kind of like Zelda. What else was there? Oh yeah, an inch page. That's really cool, you can hit 2 at once. And for those of you who don't know him, I've kind of already paused the... Okay. Night Valian has been doing the Lord's work and grinding through all the Final Fantasy games. I think you're on to number 9 now? I like the Fluke Marm. Oh, I dodged it and then I... Oh, that is such a cool approach. Got a little arrogant there. Ooh, this is a little scary. Just because I'm not sure where my next heal comes from. Oh, sabotage! No way! Oh. Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. And of course I have, not to be too mercenary, but, yeah, I'm actually really that was a pretty good run for a for a start of the night, but, there's a couple of things at that final fight where I got, yeah, I got not even a little too arrogant. I actually think that pogoing off of his head is not a bad approach at all. But I don't know. There's just a couple of things about that went a little off. Let me just see if I can find... It's mostly because I get a chance to bite the hand that feeds here. Okay, yeah, we got it. So, Neutrino made a good point that there is, in fact, the deck build and battle bundle. And if you use this link, and this is totally an affiliate link, this is all about putting money in my pocket. They've brought the sliders back. And let me be completely honest with you. So I bought one bundle after Humble did that really awful change. So the bundle I had, it gave Humble 50% of the amount, and the charity got the smallest one possible. They have brought those sliders back. I'm actually, you know what? I'm so mad at Humble. I'm going to show you exactly how this works. Although I can't do it for myself, so let me just take a quick second here. And frankly, I don't care if you do this with me or any of your other people, but I am pissed off enough at Humble that you better believe I am going to show you exactly how to make this what you want it to be. So Humble over time has been getting more and more aggressive in terms of what it takes from the share of the bundle. So here's what you do. If you click on an affiliate link, that could be mine, that could be anybody else's. Okay, you got your whole thing. Maybe you want to click get the bundle. All right, pay what you want, you know, 13, 14, 30. As you can see here, you need 14.75 or more to get everything. And then you can do a custom amount. So it's like, I want all of the content. Now, once upon a time, they used to give you these sliders right away. What they've done, then they took them away completely and gave themselves a fixed amount. This is where they were giving themselves 50% of the take. So you choose where the money goes. If you've clicked on somebody's affiliate link, you will have the name beside them. Miss Ariella is a wonderful Australian broadcaster. She's the one who I normally pick up. So I don't really care how you do these sliders, except for the fact that this one should ideally go up. And in my opinion, if you want to know how I use it, this goes to 0. Nope. Not 1 cent. 0. So, again, I'm not going to sit here and yell at Humble for being too greedy and then say, oh, be sure to do this, guys. No. If it's a charity thing. So the only reason I have I've had my issues with Humble before, and I brought in the Humble affiliate link because people asked for it. If you decide to put this to me to 0, totally fair game. I don't think the point of doing charitable stuff is, to hope that people throw the tip your way. If I'm going to yell at Humble for making that tip too high, I can't turn around and say, but make sure I get mine, right? Because at the very least, Humble is organizing the bundle, right? But, look at what happens here, right? Look how much that tip goes. If you just keep saying it's like, oh yeah, I think they should get paid for something, but I want the majority. Like it's everything that they have done on this site is specifically geared towards making that Humble tip go up. I've specifically chosen Doctors Without Borders. I think that should populate if you use my link as well, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, whatever it is, think about what number you want this one to go. And personally, I think this should be 0. But whatever you think is fair to go to Humble. But at this point now, there's no excuse. Make sure that you specifically decide where the money goes, because honestly, $2.95 out of this bundle, 73 cents to Doctors Without Borders? Nuh-uh, that's not Humble. So, anyways, this rant brought to you by the System Chalk channel, whose evaluation for Humble partnership is now under review. I feel pretty strongly about that one. I also know that, there is a feeling among, I'm not going to say who it was, but there have definitely been some streamers who definitely see charity as a really good way to like boost numbers, and those numbers do translate into amounts. I know people who take money in the name of a charity without actually directing to the charity. It goes into their PayPal account, and then I mean, so far as I can tell, they actually do give it to the charity. That's not how that's supposed to go, though. You can't take something in the name of a charity and then like promise you'll be giving it to them. Like it has to be given directly to the charity if you're going to be in compliance with this sort of stuff. And you know, we live in the time when, you know, charities will have like the Hershey. Okay, for those of you who don't know, Milton Hershey was a pretty great guy. A bunch of his Hershey shares went into this trust for education to sort of at-risk and low-income children. And one of the board members is actually having to sue the Hershey Trust to take a look at the financials, because it has been like there's been some pretty shady stuff. Like, you know, they've bought a golf course from one of the board members when like it was in danger of getting closed and stuff like that. So unfortunately, like the one thing we should feel okay about, charity, is kind of becoming a scam, right? If you want to, you know, if you're really wealthy and you want to, you know, have something you can give your kids, well, you know, you just found, you know, you come up with the X Foundation, and it just happens to be that all of your family members are like board members or whatever, and they get paid a very healthy salary from it, right? And to a certain extent, right, it's their money. Like, they can do what they want with. Hey, Olaf, I was actually just talking about the streamer you mod for. How you doing? Well, you must be getting ready to do Borderlands with her again. But yeah, like, the thing is that there's a lot of really crummy stuff that happens with charity, and I don't think that should be an excuse not to participate. But now that you have seen some of the tricks about what Humble does to try and like rake off as much as it can, and I mean, they'll still, on all of their advertising stuff, they'll say, well, we've given X dollars to charity. No, it's somebody else who gave it to charity, and you did everything you could to siphon off as much as you possibly can, right? Also, don't do United Way, because so much goes towards the administrative costs, and in reality, I can just, you know, directly give to the, you know, the organizations that I want. I think if you are in a position to do charitable giving, you should do it. And I'll be honest with myself, I should be doing more charitable giving. Like, I try and give to some of the museums that I'm a part of. But, you know, I'm still paying down some debts and stuff like that as well. So, you know, I have an excuse. But I've also had, like, my question, like, I've never had any question about whether or not I'm going to be having a job over the pandemic. So, like, I have been better off than a lot of people that I know during this. And so, really, this is the time that I should be finding in myself to give to others. And what I don't have a lot of patience for is the fact that for that brief window when Humble was going to impose that like mandatory organization, half of the money that I put towards a bundle just so I could get some video editing software went directly to them, and I didn't have the option. Well, I mean, I had the option not to get it, but it was the best price that I could get for that editing software. So with that in mind, like, I think there should be consequences for those choices. And I think Humble has shown themselves not to be good stewards of your money. And that is specifically why, regardless of whatever you give to me, or if you just use somebody else's affiliate link, make sure that you are actually putting the money where you want it to go. And I've never quite gotten myself to a point where I put the amount to zero in terms of the content creators. But I'll be honest with you, the majority of the money that I put towards that, it's either Doctors Without Borders, or if I don't have the option to put it towards a charity that I sort of have vetted and feel about, I just put it towards the broadcaster that I support, which is usually Miss Ariella. Rant over. I'm doing okay, Olaf. We had a pretty good starting run, up until it wasn't a good starting run. I timed that wrong. Sorry, I got a little distracted, but I was wondering why my abilities weren't working. I have to watch the VOD for the start of the round. It's just about Humble. Somebody brought up that there was a cultist simulator. It was part of their like deck building and whatnot bundle, and I don't know. Like, I have like I'm not indifferent to monetization of my stuff, right? Like, obviously, in the affiliate program, I have subs. I've bothered to like try and commission emotes that I think are attractive enough to sort of promote subbing. I don't quite, like... If I've run ad breaks, it's been usually to try and avoid the pre-roll, but Twitch is pretty aggressive in how they want you to... Like, they basically want me to do ads every 40 minutes to stop the pre-roll, and that's just, like... That's a really terrible interval. Like, it's not enough to really... Like, once an hour I think is good for breaks. Once every 40 minutes is kind of, like... That just kind of seems to be an interruption, to be honest. So, anyways. So yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like... I like money. Like... I want to ideally earn it, but like I don't necessarily think it's a badge of honor for people to say it's like I don't do this for the money. Like, you know, your time's valuable. You know, ideally you think you're doing a good show and you think it's worth something. You know, obviously you can be annoying about the monetization thing and like bug people about your free content. I'm like, well, it's not really free if you're asking me every 2 minutes for a donation. Yeah, I mean, there are different ways of doing that. Like, and the way Humble has gone. I mean, the way Humble has gone about it for a while. You know that that's not the first time I've done a Humble rant. Man, that's a really good way of hitting him. You've definitely heard me rant about Humble before. Like, they have definitely been turning the screws in terms of trying to maximize what they can get out of the, out of their quote-unquote charitable work. But the latest one, where they were basically like removing the option of where the money went, that was pretty egregious. And like at that point, kind of the mask fell off. Like at that point, it was really clear the organization ceased to be about charity. Given, like I said, given the fact that the bundle had been coming up, and I know that those affiliate links tend not to be used unless I bring them up, I figured it was not a bad time to... It was not a bad time to say, the bundle that was just mentioned in chat is available from me here. But at the same time, like, because it's a Humble link, you better believe that I am going to be very honest in terms of how I think that button should be used. So this one I'm going to try for the no or at least few hits. I should always be trying for that, but that's going to be sort of a... Like, this is going to be the lesson that I try and draw from this one. Okay, not bad. Oh. The real shame about that hit, too, was it kind of felt like carelessness. Ah! That would have looked really cool if I'd pulled it off. Oh, they're in a perfect sync for making me sad. Nuts. Oh, you know, here's while I'm struggling with the Oblobble. Like, at this point, I gotta start hitting them. The more I try and dodge, the more likely I am to get taken out. Oh! I might have even been safe if I didn't try to... Nuts. I was gonna say, one thing that was good for me was I don't know, I think it was just sloth on my part, but I had kind of gotten into a little bit of a rut in terms of some stuff that I've been reading. And like out of nowhere, the last couple of days, I got through like 2 major chapters, which doesn't seem like a whole lot, but you need to appreciate that like one of them is like a textbook. So getting through a chapter means sort of getting through a full concept. It seems like it just kind of cleared out a whole like kind of just jam, like it just seemed like the follow-up has not just been getting through the work. It's been like I'm engaged in this, like I'm following, I'm implementing the stuff that I've learned, and that has been really encouraging. I have a bad, like, so I like to think my work ethic is okay in general. But it does have this one really negative fact that I do fall prone to sort of inertia. So if I get in a rut, like if I even kind of thought I'm getting too close on the edge. Thinking doesn't matter if you don't implement it, though. Yeah, so the problem I run into is I do have a tendency where if there's if I get in a slump, it's really easy for me to go like 2 or 3 days with like sort of spinning my wheels, and like I'll do stuff like I'll read pages, or I'll like, you know, I'll kind of tool around on my laptop at work, and like I'll do stuff that you associate with work, but I know the actual productive output of what I'm doing is not where it should be. I've not quite found a really good way to break it, but it's really clear to me that over the past couple of days, that's exactly what's happened. Maybe it was giving the presentation, I'm not sure. But I have been feeling a little bit charged over that. All right. Marmu, let's do this. And I realize there's like more to life than just being productive, but like when I'm talking about being productive, I'm also talking about like stream stuff, like stuff that I would potentially do for a stream, or like, I don't know, doing like another data project or something like that. Like there's lots of different things that I consider productive uses of times. Oh, actually, I saw a movie. Okay, so I saw an old movie. If you find a way to break that, let you know your productivity nosedives when you get flustered. I do find that success does tend, like, so if you're anything like me, like, it's sort of self-reinforcing. So, like, if you're on a productive spurt, it tends to feed itself. So sometimes even just giving yourself like a little win can help take you through. But like I said, I haven't really cracked it for myself yet either. So I'm not in a position to like be a motivational speaker or anything like that. All right, what was I trying to say? Ah, nuts. Oh. Well, that's mean. Oh, that's very mean. Like how I got that back to 4 masks. He's got to be getting close to the end, right? Ugh. Ooh. Yeah, getting close to the end at the time I can't afford it. Yeah, sorry, I forgot the thing I was going to say earlier. It wasn't about productivity, but I don't know. I'm just feeling a little bit better about how I've been spending my time the last. Oh yeah, sorry, I remember what I was going to say now. This is an older movie. It was actually a recommendation from my dad, and I feel a little bit bad that I didn't follow up on it as early. Like, he did get me a copy of disc for it, but it's just one of these things that there had always been. Like, usually if it's a recommendation from someone I know, I want to, like, take the time to... I really should be healing up off of these. Nice. But anyways, I got... I was looking for something to, like, waste my time with. Maybe a reward for otherwise being productive. Mean. Should have healed off of that. That was pretty bold. Cool. So, this movie is called The Lives of Others. Has anybody seen it? Ah! Will the gods not relieve us of this troublesome speck? How it tests us, seeing this worm raise its filthy weapon to the gods. Thou hast luck beyond luck, O speck. The gods of this pantheon, for purpose beyond our understanding, allow you among them. Truly, the divine punishment they must be planning for you will be beyond all reckoning. Prepare thyself! Prepare thyself! O gods of Halonest, show us your might. We shall attune ourselves to thee and ascend ever higher. So I don't 100% remember the... Oh, okay. Oh, that's good info. Ah, dang. Oof. I don't know how I was supposed to deal with that one. Oh. Yeah, I don't think there was any dodge in that last shot. Okay, well, we got to the artist again. That was pretty sloppy how I handled the artist, but I did learn a couple things that I didn't before, so... anyways, this Lives of Others movie takes place in East Germany around, I think, 1984. I'm pretty sure Gorbachev is not, has not, taken over yet. So a couple things surprised me about this movie. So it's the main character is sort of responsible for surveillance for the Stasi, the secret police, and I think what really surprised me about it was it had an excellent ending, but what really surprised me was where it ended. Like, I've seen movies kind of in that spirit, and like there's like the major event that happens, and you sort of think it's like, okay, this is probably the ending, right? And I sort of wonder, it's like, you know, this is a pretty good movie, but like maybe it wasn't the one that sort of merited the kind of attention that it seemed to get. This thing, I think, was made for a sub $10 million budget, but box office was something like 77 million or something along those lines. So like, definitely a big independent hit. Ugh. But yeah, it wound up, it basically wound up running longer than I thought it would. Like, there's the moment where I think most movies would have ended it, and then it does its own thing. And the place where they choose to end it is so much better than where most movies like that would choose to, like, sort of finish the series of events. So, like, it shouldn't have been a surprise to me because I had known that it was a well-regarded film. But it's one that, unless you dislike foreign language films with subtitles, I would say, well, I mean, I suppose you can watch a dubbed version. I'm assuming if it made that much money, there's probably a dubbed version somewhere. But like, unless you don't like foreign films, I think The Lives of Others is definitely worth your time. I'll admit, like, when they said the final lines, actually the version I watched, they did not translate the last lines, but like it's really clear what he said. And I was really moved by that last moment. I was like, oh man, I did not think that was where this is going. So, well, okay, sorry. Like, in context, yes, that is clearly the only way that the movie can end. But you know, based on sort of, I had a guess in terms of what it would have been, and it was really like maybe the last couple of minutes when you know the big resolution came. Sorry, I'm trying not to spoil things for people, but it's hard because I really want to talk about that movie. Got a little greedy there. So ideally, I'm handling the right-hand side of Blobble for the rest of the encounter. I'm gonna try and get my health back first. Oh, this is scary. Okay, got some breathing room again. Nice. Not so nice. Okay, I'm on the verge of throwing this thing away, so let's just calm down. So that was just me kind of taking advantage of the iframes when you get hit. I don't even know if those count as iframes, but like basically I wanted to try and absorb as much as I could so I could have sort of a free reign when I was out. Come on, let's put this thing to bed though. I'm also trying to keep... If I can get myself to full health in time for the Mantis Lords, that's ideal. Because it means my soul goes towards finishing the fight early rather than healing. Oh well. Gross. Oh, here is another surprise for me. So I'm finally getting into the Total War games. So I've been doing Rome Total War, or Total War Rome 2. and I decided that after doing the grand campaign, I was going to do all of the scenarios. So, and in the order that they were released. So I think it's Caesar and Gaul, Hannibal at the Gates, Wrath of Sparta, which I just finished today. I will admit, so I am interested in the Peloponnesian War, but I can't say Wrath of Sparta was my favorite DLC. I just think the pace at which you generate troops is a bit too slow. I kind of found that I was playing it to like end the encounter as quickly as possible, as opposed to like playing to enjoy it. But I am looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Empire Divided, which, first of all, I think surprised everyone in the sense that everyone was like, "Wait, wasn't Total War 2 like really old? Like, why are they releasing new DLC for this game?" And it's a really interesting period of history. I think it's called the Crisis of the Third Century, but basically it's you have the Roman Empire potentially falling apart over these competing claims to the empire. And so if you play as Rome, like you get to pick one of three Romes and sort of press your claim. And then the final DLC I need to try is Rise of the Republic, which kind of takes place, I think, a little bit before Imperator Rome starts. But from my understanding, Rome is pretty difficult in that campaign, so... Well, at least I got a bit of a hit. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and in my case, 100% of the shots I do take. Drat. Well, at least he let me get the heal off that time. Okay, so Noska's been giving me a little bit of trouble when dropping stuff from the ceiling. His movements are so erratic. That was a good hit. I think he's gonna try and jump up. Yeah. So obviously I would have liked to have used that soul to damage him, but I want to try and be... I really don't want to put myself at too much risk. Go on the roof again. Yeah. Oof. Oh, that's gross. Alright. That start was really good, though. I definitely feel like I'm showing the progress. Going in the water is enough to... So the only problem here is that I don't have anything for the broken vessel, but. Oh, Jesus! So I screwed up partway through that, but I basically went in for the, like, I knew I was going to take a little bit of damage in the middle there, so I stuck with that. I meant to dash to the corner, not walk, and for want of actually hitting the button, I just threw away an otherwise pretty serviceable run. Oh well. I'd say normally around this time I'm having my first good run, and most of them so far have been pretty acceptable. The ones that normally give me trouble have been overcome. Also, I'm wondering if my recommendation of the lives of others has caused everybody to go from go and watch that instead of the stream, or if I just have a quiet chat tonight. Missed some opportunities to get some hits in there. So the biggest problem I have with this one is that I've started to get a little arrogant in my timing for my shouts. Oh, that's a shame. I just threw away some soul out of that. It was too late. Ah. That's an opportunity for a free hit. If I'd even just been 1 second more patient, I would have got the hit. Oh well. If the Soul Master is the one that gives me trouble this run, I got bigger problems. Alright. There's really no excuse for me to have trouble with these guys anymore. Like, I've had good runs against them before. So essentially any damage I take from their shot... Well, this will be tough. I'm actually going to go really aggressive on the left-hand one. Well, now the right-hand one. Oh, too aggressive. This is gonna be tough. I wanted to bring it close to the edge, not to the very edge. Jim the Eternal, how you doing? It's been a while. What were you playing tonight? And welcome everybody from Jim's channel. I think it's fair to say that I know Jim from... this is a Pantheon run. I've never played Hollow Knight before, so... But I think probably the claim to fame, or whatever claim to fame I can take, is being the follow-up act to Jim on Cultist Simulator way back. Well, I don't know if he still plays it, but way back when... Ah! But, I will admit, I have not seen you lately, so what have you been up to? And my apologies for being lightly distracted, but I will do my best. I do see Cryptomancer in the chat there. Oh. That hit was for you, Cryptomancer. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I've been stuck on the Pantheon of the Audit. I will admit, last week's session I was very, very chatty, and so I kind of ignored the Pantheon runs in the name of chat exchanges. God, this is going to be tough. RimWorld! Oh, that's cool. Another Canadian, well, like a Canadian game. I think Tynan Sylvester is based in Montreal. It's hard to tell. I mean, I know Red Hook used to be based in Montreal, but I know Tyler Sigmund is an American, I believe. So I think he's back in the States now. But I always like shouting out Canadian games. Now, colony full of nature-loving hippies who are learning psychic abilities from trees. So here's the thing for me. I now own RimWorld. I got it during one of the Epic sales where they were kind of paying you to buy games. And I haven't... So, like, everything I've heard about RimWorld has been that it is an exceptional game. I have not quite hit that critical mass where, like, the game still has a lot of systems for me and not necessarily ones that I'm sort of fully aware of. So was RimWorld like a love at first sight affair for you, or was it something that you sort of grew into as you learned the game? Because I found the tutorial didn't quite give me the feeling of like I am playing an epic space adventure that, you know, everyone loves. And I definitely have the feeling that I'm sort of missing part of the experience that people are, like, that lead people to like really love that game. So I've been gently prodding the people I know who play it to sort of give me sort of the secrets in terms of what they, you know, what they find special about the game. Because I'm actually quite sure that it's a game I'll like. Like, I like stuff like Crusader Kings and Stellaris and such. Oh man, I got very lucky on the recovering the masks. Okay, I gotta remember to stay in the middle. Obviously I was not intending to hit the wall like that. Yeah, anyways, I've been secretly, I don't necessarily, like, I think the problem isn't necessarily that I need a guide to play it, so much as I'm trying to learn the right frame of mind to be in to get the most out of the experience. I tend to find actually games that give me a lot of freedom are the ones that I struggle with the most. I actually really like games that kind of give me some constraints to fight against. Alright, I do see some messages in chat. I will probably have to dispatch at least one of the Mantis Lords before I can do that justice, so my apologies for not being a little more engaged. The good news is I'm a bit of a hack, so... Oh, good. So you're not really missing out on too much of my sparkling personality. Alright, the tutorial's a bit shy of the greatness. Once you get further and further learning through failures, there's a joy of the emergent stories your colonists have. Yeah, so actually the one thing that the trailer for... The funny thing is, I really got into... Oh, and sorry, Jim the Eternal also answered. So you came to RimWorld after Oxygen Not Included, so you had a base understanding and affection for keeping your idiots alive despite themselves. Actually, another Canadian game by Clay, a Vancouver developer. It definitely took you a while to come to grip with RimWorld systems, though. And Cryptomancer, the tutorial's a bit shy of the greatness. Once you get further and further learning through failures, there's a joy from the emergent stories your colonists have. So the thing that really got me into RimWorld... There's two things that got me into RimWorld. One was Tynan Sylvester, the kind of lead designer of that game, has a book on designing games. And one of the things I liked about that book was a lot of game design books will say that game theory has nothing to do with game design. And to a certain extent that is true, because game theory is a branch of mathematics, particularly as relates to economics, but not exclusively. There have been really interesting applications of game theory to biology and political science. I thought the thing is that I also find that view of game theory a little dismissive, because you can actually use game theory to do some interesting models of games. It's just a question in terms of what you want to get out of those models. So I think Sylvester did a really good job of explaining a situation in which that way of thinking can be very helpful for game designers. I actually emailed him about it, and I have a slightly different perspective than he does. Like, I think his... Well, I know this because of the email. First of all, I think it's really cool that he replies to emails. But I think his impression was that it was only meaningful when you had two sort of human players to sort of compete with each other. Whereas I sort of take a view that you can actually get some insights in terms of game theory when you have you don't even have to program an AI, but basically just sort of for modeling the state of the world. But in the end, the question is about how you get to where you go, right? Like, you do not need to use mathematical models if you have a really good intuition for where you want your game to go. So this might just be a difference in terms of where I might have used those models in my, econ work, as opposed to how a game designer might be thinking about these things. So Sylvester's book on game design really caught my attention. And the trailer, I thought, did a really good job of talking about those emergent stories that that you folks are talking about in there. And I think that's kind of why I ask people, so like, am I missing something for the tutorial? To which the answer seems to be a definitive yes. It's fun because, like, I definitely like burning my hand on the stove plenty of times in games like that. But I will note from the tutorial, I don't think the tutorial did a good enough job of sort of getting its hooks in me to sort of explain that, yeah, like, once, I know it's a little tough right now. I know you're gonna have to learn all these systems, but trust me, like, once you do, you're gonna be ranting to your friends about, like, this crazy stuff that just happened in your colony. So, it can be a 2-open sandbox, but you can adjust the storyteller AI at any time. Yeah, actually, that's the 3 people on the cover, I think, right? And that really just has it throwing more things at you rather than giving you more goals. Anyways, I'm very late to saying this about Jim the Eternal, but another streamer on Twitch. Somebody's actually much more generous with the host than I am, although that might be a story of timings, because I have a feeling that Jim will end before I start. In any case, somebody who I've met through games that I'm equally interested in. I think a lot of you probably, if you haven't already played RimWorld, will definitely enjoy that game, and I can definitely say through the times, every time that I visited, it's been a very welcoming environment. And I think, as you can see, first of all, it's always cool to have people who hang out in the stream after the after the host, because I know you sign up for one streamer and another one may not quite be your cup of tea. Obviously, going from Wormworld to Hollow Knight, the Venn diagram on that one isn't really, there's not too much overlap, I think. But yeah, obviously you can sort of get an idea about a streamer by the people that they bring into the channel, and it's a nice little rare chance for me to be able to say nice things about Jim. That was really what you got out of RimWorld. It was tweaking the difficulty high enough that you had things to respond to, and then learning from failures. Okay, that's good to know. I will admit, I am looking forward to Dwarf Fortress. I know you can play it now, but I might as well just play like the definitive edition, the Steam edition, given the Kitfox connection. But I have no idea when it'll be coming out. But yeah, I feel like games like those really should be up my alley. But oddly enough, they are the ones that I've sometimes struggled to get into. All right, let's get into Phase 2. Marmu, bring it. It's not as good as we've had before. Ouch. I hope this isn't the end of the run. Oh well. That was probably the worst round I've had with Marmu since the first time I ran into him in the Pantheon. Actually, one game in that vein that I think I could probably recommend to you folks. Have any of you heard of Industries of Titan? That's the new game by Brace Yourself Games, which is the company behind Crypt of the Necrodancer and Cadence of Hyrule and Phantom Brigade and all sorts of goodies. But it's definitely not like full RimWorld, but it seems to be sort of in that this current trend of sort of simulation games with lots of systems, lots of things to do. It's been really fun to follow the development of that one. I was given a key for promotional purposes, so probably not a bad idea to disclose that. But that's one that I think has a pretty good structure around it. And that's one I've definitely had an easy time. I mean, it also has, like, you get to play an evil megacorp or something approximating it. So that's definitely something up my alley. But yeah, I mean, there's probably going to be at least one VOD still in the Twitch archives, but I've been having a really good time with it, and they've been doing so. They're actually pretty consistent in the early access period. Like, there's been one solid update a month, pretty much since that game started. I think it's been going for about a year. And actually, if anything, they've added too many features, because for a while it was quite buggy. So this more recent one has been a little more, I wouldn't even say more modest in terms of the additions. The start of the playthrough that I've done is completely different from any of the others that I've tried before, and that's specifically because of the Fog of War that they added. But it's definitely one that I've been enjoying in that spirit. You like Hollow Knight a lot, but you don't get the appeal of doing Pantheons with all the bindings. You are working on getting a good ending, though. So actually, I have never played Hollow Knight before, so I actually didn't know that there were different endings. But part of this is because I do enjoy the challenge a little bit. I seem to be pretty well equipped for the encounters that I'm running into here. So sort of being able to get a mastery of the challenge. I don't know if you have to do all of the bindings to get something special. But once I sort of saw that the game had a little bit of an incentive for me to do all the bindings, I kind of hopped onto it. But it's Mallory and Everest, right? It's like because it's there. I also did the Colosseum of Fools, so I don't know. I think it really just kind of comes down to being able to do some of the challenges I ran into before, but achieving a level of mastery that I didn't necessarily have on the previous encounters. And it can be frustrating for sure, because especially if I died of Marmu, like I did in that previous one, it can be a bit of a bummer. But I don't know, I think once I did the one Pantheon with all the bindings, I kind of felt like I had to do the other ones. But it's actually kind of funny. By the way, welcome, Kalaman. I probably should have said that. I don't know if you came in from Jim's host or if you're just checking out for more Hollow Knight. I've actually talked a couple of times about I understand, intellectually I understand, but in one sense, in another way I don't. The idea of labeling a stream as very hard difficulty, or for Civilization, which is a series I love to death. I will never get tired of Civilization. Let's try and be a little more even-handed with the damage. Nuts. Drats. But yeah, so there seems to be something about Civilization streams where it feels like everybody says that they're playing on Deity, and I don't get it. I don't quite understand what the other than just sheer bragging rights. Lol, look at me, I am top gamer. I don't quite get what the appeal is. I will admit, I am a little bit of a hypocrite on this, because I do tend to up the difficulty when I play a game on stream. It's not a bragging rights thing. I don't have a problem putting it on normal difficulty either. But I remember, I'm thinking of Wolfenstein: The New Order. I did that on a the whatever I Am Death Incarnate, or whatever they call the top difficulty. And there were definitely some parts that I struggled through, which was part of the appeal. But the idea of advertising a stream based on difficulty has always struck me as really weird. Oh really? You didn't care for Civ 6? That's fine. I've actually been playing it recently, and I will confess that I was in danger of becoming... So, there's a kind of a known phenomena with Civ that for, the first year that it's out, the previous iteration is more played than the other one. And, this is just kind of a known thing. This just seems to be the way that people play the series. And then about after a year, you'll see the shift happen towards the new iteration. like I'm really enjoying Civ 6 lately. And I'll confess, when I first played Civ 6, I wasn't necessarily, like, I didn't have as much playtime in it kind of at the same period as I did Civ 5. I have to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure why. I just need to admit that was true for me. But like now, I had a friend who was who just kind of got into PC gaming. And, you know, they'd heard about Civilization, so they had 5 in their library. They wanted to see what the fuss was about. And I played Civilization, like I did a small private video for them to just sort of show, because they were sort of struggling to understand the game, so I just did a little tutorial video saying, like, here's how I would handle the situation. They discovered a couple of systems that they weren't familiar with. But yeah, I don't know, like, when I went back to Civ 5 after playing Civ 6 for a bit, like, I suddenly realized how much of an improvement I felt Civ 6 was. Which is a shame, because obviously my revealed preferences for the first year that Civ 6 was out, and like I pre-ordered Civ 6, was that I'd actually kind of had this small preference for 6. But obviously to each their own. I mean, like, this is the wonderful thing. Like, while it's true the support for the game will diminish when a new one is out, you know, the existence of a new version of a game does not annihilate the one that you liked before. So, you know, if you have a preference for 5 or earlier. I mean, I know people who thinks of, like, the series peaked at 4 and won't even touch number 5. You know, I think, I actually can't, I don't know if I ever played 4. I know it's the one Soren Johnson worked, and, like, he's got Old World now, so he's back to 4X, but, yeah, I mean, obviously, there's going to be preferences. I suspect probably the difference between 4 and 5 is I think 4 you could still stack your armies, and like 5 removed that, and I think that was the big break for people. So it's probably the city mechanics that lost a lot of people on 6. But Paper Duplex says, for games like Civ, you use deity to mean someone you can learn from, though it doesn't mean anything for games that don't have a certain kind of depth. Yeah, that's interesting, because I've always found, like, playing deity, I will, like, try and, like, come up with every little cheesy, like, so this is the thing, like, when I play games like that on really high difficulties, I don't actually enjoy them as much, because I sort of feel like I need to pull out all the stops in terms of, like, manipulating the game. And sometimes it's actually kind of fun to just try unconventional strategies, or just, like, you know, play the game rather than, like, really obsess about it. So again, it's a preference thing on my part. But I've always kind of found that, like, deity is, like, to me, I've not quite enjoyed the series as much at that. Like, I don't actually have a problem playing Prince and Civilization. But, you know, sometimes I just want an achievement hunt, so I'll, like, move up through the difficulty rankings and such. But Cryptomancer says you didn't bother getting 6 because you were doing stuff in 5. You need your Civ fix. You'll got plenty to do in 5. Yeah, well, this is just it, too. Like, yeah, actually, so this is the funny thing, too, just based on what you said, Cryptomancer, far below deity level, like, the difficulties for Civilization definitely aren't, like, a progression where, like, everybody eventually should work their way up to deity, too. Like, I think most of the developers tend to play well below deity. It's just that they also know that part of the community really likes, like, just kind of drilling into every last system of the game and wants to have this like overpowered enemy to try and take down. So it's really something that, like, I think actually, so this is where it kind of comes from. I think this might also relate to what Paper Duplex is saying. Like, I think the thing for me is that the reason why I find, like, the deity thing so difficult for me, because, like, I kind of avoid the videos that say deity, because I personally feel that that is a mode that is designed for one segment of the Civilization community. And it's a good one. It's actually it's a part of the community that has previously, like, helped with testing and balance of the game and that. So it's actually really good for 4X games to have that group. But because I know that that's not necessarily what like, that's not what keeps me coming back to the Civilization series. You know, it's actually, to me, it's the opposite thing, which is if I see a deity label on a stream, I'm actually less likely to check it out. And yeah, Paper Duplicate, you've got it exactly right. Like, I think I was playing Civ at the time 5 was released, and I definitely remember the feeling that like Civ 5 was a step back. But again, I think that's always true. Still think back things to Civ 2. Oh, interesting. I mean, I really like Alpha Centauri, which I know is very, very close to Civilization 2. You think Civ 4 does something that none of the other Civs since have done? Perhaps it feels a bit more immersive and less board gamey, though 6 is my go-to. Interesting. Sorry, I'm really thirsty, so I wanted to pound back the coffee before I responded. And of course, we're going to be going after Marmu, but this was my chance to catch up with some of chat. Yeah, I think the board gamey thing, it's quite telling in my opinion that Ed Beach was the lead designer on Civ 6. For those of you who don't know Ed Beach, probably his claim to fame as a GMT board game called Here I Stand, which is sort of based on the Reformation and the different political intrigues and religious turmoil brought about kind of around those times. And I actually don't know if Beach has a background in video game development or he just jumps between the two, but I definitely know he is a rather well-respected board game designer, and so I don't think that it's a coincidence. But I actually also think that that's one of Civilization's kind of better defining features, that it's got its kind of board game-ish elements to it, but I still think it I really do think it leans into some of the advantages that you have when you play a computer game. I played a Civilization board game. I don't know if it is the most, I think there have been a few different Civilization board games coming out since. And, but I remember playing one which was really disappointing. I remember trying to play it 3 or 4 different times, and it was pretty, I was excited, because, I love Civ. But the board game just did nothing for me, and I sort of began to appreciate. Yeah, that was kind of one of those moments where I really began to appreciate just how good Civilization was from the perspective of a board game, from a video game. Even if, as you point out, it does sort of have a board game-ish sort of feel to it. Ah, nuts. Oh boy. Okay. I'll try and get a heal in when I can, but I want to be a little more sure about... Ah, nuts. I got lucky there. Yeah, that was a good hit. Okay, that was one of my better Marmu runs. Yeah, I'm capable of multitasking, sort of. Alright, so there's no excuses for doing poorly on Nost this time. We definitely had a good run. Oops. So I was probably going to jump on the roof, but... well, maybe not. What I'm most mad about is the chance to do some serious damage to him. Actually, it was one thing to Kellerman. One of the things we were talking about for the appeal of the bindings runs. The other thing that I've noticed, one of my longtime viewers, Endors, pointed out that I don't use magic a lot. And one of the things that these binding runs has done is really sharpen my use of magic a lot. Which I like. Like, I think basically I've become better at... Okay, so like I'm getting, beat up right now, so this is gonna sound kind of rich saying I've gotten better at Hollow Knight. But nuts. I still think it was worth it to do the hit, but... So I'll heal up. But yeah, like in terms of, because the nail doesn't do as much damage as it used to, I believe magic becomes relatively stronger. And as a result, I've sort of improved on that one area that a viewer had sort of pointed out. Okay, so one of the lessons for this broken vessel is to be really aggressive where possible, obviously. Ah, nuts. Okay, this one I'm going to try healing. Ugh. So I gotta go for the heals where I can, but the ideal will be to do as much damage as possible. Ah, I didn't see that orange guy. Brutal. Crap. Oh, I got greedy. But yeah, so this is one of the things that I've learned over the course of doing this, is that it's forced me to... Basically, it's given me a different set of incentives, and so as a result, it's forced me to play in a particular way. I know I've read this before, but... Ah, the will of the gods will not relieve us of this troublesome speck. How it tests us, seeing this worm raise its filthy weapon to the gods. Thou hast luck beyond luck, O Speck. The gods of this pantheon, for purpose beyond our understanding, allow you amongst them. Truly the divine punishment they are planning for you will be beyond all reckoning. Prepare thyself, prepare thyself. Okay, so we're one mask down on the artist. Let's see if we can make something happen with this, though. Can I get a heal? No! Oh god, I'm sucking big time. I'm done for. Okay. We had one good round against the artist and one not so good round, so I am going to take a second and go back to practice. This is not practice land. I'm going to take a minute and go back to the practice, because it's pretty clear I've lost some of the lessons I learned last week. And going through the whole Pantheon just to have an early encounter that's over in like 10 seconds is like my first date. No. Obviously that's not the way to learn. So obviously this is at full strength, but it is also radiant, so... Ah, nuts. That was not a bad start, though. Oh, that was so stupid. So the reason for doing Radiant is just I do have my bonus attacks, but obviously the thing that's really sinking me is the damage I take. And so I'm trying to create a situation in which I can't... Like, basically, if I play in this scenario like I can't get hit, then when the time comes and I only have 4 masks, I'm going to feel a little more secure, and I'm going to have a better idea of when I can heal up. I think I'm regressing in terms of my ability to handle this enemy. By the way, I'm not necessarily going to finish the Radiant fight. I really just want to get a better read in terms of, you know, knowing that I can see what's coming and that I can handle his attacks better. Oh, that's a real shame. I moved into that too. Alright. That one I still don't feel too bad about because obviously I had a little more back and forth. Like, it's the ones where I get taken out and I haven't shown that I can dodge a single event. Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things I've really come to appreciate about this game, like, even in terms of just kind of the Metroid-like game, that genre in general, I think this game has done a kind of a good... It's been a good ambassador for this style of game, because I really did not care for... Oh, that one's a crying shame. I didn't necessarily care for this type of game before I played Hollow Knight. But, basically, I feel like this game does such a good job of nudging you to where you need to go without coming straight out and say, hey, dummy, you know, you should have been paying attention to this. And I'm sometimes, like, as you say, like, some of the fights give you a really nice prep for what's coming next. And some of the ones I appreciate the most are the ones that, like, only after I've done the encounter do I sort of realize how the game was sort of nudging me towards learning the skills that I needed to overcome that particular challenge. Okay, I was gonna say if he purple brushes me, I'm done. Nuts. I thought I could get out of it. But yeah, that's it. Like, I'm kind of curious. Like, clearly a lot of this game is intentional, but I'm really curious how much of it is a reflection of, like, lots of polish and redesigning things, and how much was just, you know, team had really good instincts about what a player, like, what goes through a player's head while they play their game. I mean, to a certain extent, that's gonna change. Ah, Jesus. Okay, I gotta... Basically, that purple one, I gotta be on the other side of him, or I gotta be all the way away. Yeah, I'm in the same boat, Kellerman. Like, I am definitely going to be trying stuff like Axiom Verge and Ori and the Blind Forest. That's pretty embarrassing. You know, definitely there's a lot that's sort of opened opened me to these. Sorry, there's a lot of new games that sort of the experience of Hollow Knight has sort of opened me up to, and I like that. Like, you know, it's a rare game that kind of opens you up to the possibility. Like, this is one thing I really like about Stellaris, is that I feel like Stellaris has made an entire group of gamers who would not like look at a complicated grand strategy game and have suddenly like made them a connoisseur of that genre. Oh, is Guacamelee a Metroidvania? That's a Canadian one. Actually, I think that was made with Canadian taxpayer dollars. I mean, they had to pay them back, but the Canadian Media Fund has financed many notable games. Oh God! I'll give it a couple more. I mean, I'm not like shooting the lights out on this, but I feel like I know enough about what's going on to Ooh. Oh, that's a pity. That was a really good round. So yeah, the lesson I keep getting out of every encounter that I have, which is going as aggressive as possible, is really what it's like the common thread in all of my good runs. Oof. By the way, the one thing I do like about the painting is it does seem to be the person, God Master or whatever. How can you practice to find heal time? Finding the heal timings for me is less about actually doing the heal and just finding the spots where I feel safer. Oh, that was a pity. So for instance, while I can't pogo on the head of the... I'll give you an example. I literally broke the rule that I was just about to mention. You can't pogo on him. Like, I think you get one bounce on his head, and then when he moves away, there's the possibility that he jumps up. Okay, well, so much for that theory. But yeah, no, basically the idea on this one is it's more about when I kind of have in the back of my mind when there's a bit of a break in the fight. I've kind of got my ass kicked, my backside kicked a couple of times. So like something like this might be a good, something like that might have been a good healing opportunity, because as long as I kind of had an idea of the trajectory for the blue, there would be enough time between that and his next attack to heal up. So in this case here, it's more... It's definitely more about the feel for the fight, and I definitely think that avoiding the damage in the first place is the preferred strategy. Like, another example of where this isn't one that teaches, it teaches me bad habits, is that I can keep accumulating my, my souls, which is clearly not something that can happen when I'm doing the Pantheon. All right, you know what? I think I would have liked to have gotten him knocked down a second time, but I definitely feel like I'm generally responding a bit better to what's going on in the fight. The problem is that I'll still have these situations where, like, there've been a couple of runs where I just get clobbered from the very start, and let's face it, there's going to be a couple of Pantheon runs where I do that. But I feel like here I've at least caught sort of the basic mistakes out of the way, and so my Pantheon runs will be a little more productive. And if I blow it, I'll just go back and practice, but... that was arrogant. And I waste the soul. I admonish myself whenever I don't get the free hit in, whenever he goes skinny. Oh, that sucks. I always get hit by that now. I used to be able to get it so that I'd not get tagged by the orange, but I lost the magic apparently. So no free hit on that one, but that's just because I'm healing up. And he was never a problem. Nuts. Whoa! Sorry, my window completely tabbed out. Alright, I got a little recovery to do now. That seems to have happened the last couple of weeks where the game will minimize. I should see if it happens like at the same time, if it's some kind of like Windows update or something, but not the most convenient fight for that to happen on. hits on that guy. Okay, they've switched. I would deserve that. Oh, I got so lucky. I'm on the verge of throwing away this run, so... It's also kind of inconvenient because I have a very specific target in mind. Alright, we're back in action. Okay, not great, but I'll take the heal. I really thought that would have been enough. Okay, I gotta heal. Unbelievable. Yikes. Okay, well, it's the Mantis Lord's next, so I should be able to recover some of that, but... still not a great position to be going in. Maybe I can make it. The hardest memory for me is to remember not to go on the edges because of that charge attack. I deserve that. There's gotta be a rule against having multiple rounds of that attack. I almost really savaged myself there. Ah. Okay. I kinda deserve that. So one of the reasons why I still try and heal up even on the final round is that I have a very strong tendency to fall to very basic attacks. And so it's basically like not treating the run as done until like the enemy is properly like doing its death animation. Oh, come on. So I'm starting to get a little bit of an idea of when it's okay to heal on Marmu. But again, like, it's just one of these cases where it's better to just not have to heal in the first place. I suck. Okay, we're coming after Nosk with a pretty good... Well, I mean, we couldn't have a better loadout. I thought he was going to start by jumping onto the roof. I was going to be so angry. That's not great, but we should be able to get over it. Olé! Think he's going to the roof? No, maybe not. Now he is. Oh, that's just cheating. Oh, if he's gone on the roof again. I'm accusing Nosk of cheeseball tactics. We did okay though that time. Could have done better. Oh, nuts. So one of the funny things about the Fluke Marm is that in some cases you want what it spawns to be able to get the 3 hits you need to be able to do your magic, at least when you're on the bindings. But the ads are obviously the biggest threat to you. Oh, I walked right into him. Oh, good lord. Okay, so obviously looking for my healing opportunities. Unbelievable. I mean, I could stop being a clown for starters, but... Okay, not my favorite phase, but we should be able to get through it. I did not know what direction he was going on that. I don't think I can heal here. Like, I sometimes have a good read on those, but not enough to bet my souls on it. Got 2 for 1 there. Nice. Okay. Now let's see whether or not I've gotten any lessons from the practice. Ah! Will the gods not relieve us of this troublesome speck? How it tests us, seeing this worm raise its filthy weapon to the gods. Thou hast luck beyond luck, O speck. The gods of this pantheon, for purpose beyond our understanding, allow you among them. Truly the divine punishment they are be planning for you will be beyond all reckoning. Prepare thyself. Prepare thyself. By the way, I do think the Paint Master fight is a really cool idea. So I'm being a little more timid than I want on these, but... Okay, screwed up on that. Oh, I really thought I had that. So it may be that I just want to wait for a... Okay, well, that would have been my opportunity to oh, crap. Okay, it's not over, but... Ugh. Maybe I just don't go for healing on this one. Maybe I just go full aggression. Let's see how that works. Unless it's kind of between phases. I think one of the other challenges too is that I need to get past the point of saying that like I had some decent responses to their attacks. I can't really consider that progress anymore, unless I'm taking them down to another phase. We're really not doing any better than we've done on previous Pantheon runs, so that's got to be the new standard for improvement. To either knock them down phases, or of course the ultimate demonstration of improvement, beating the boss. I've definitely been trying to learn the lesson of being a little kinder to myself over the course of multiple playthroughs, or over the course of like learning. But there is also a certain point where I need to start delivering on, on the training. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. Alright, well this is gonna get a little tricky. I'm trying to figure out. There have been times when I throw the Hadouken at him, Vengeful Spirit. Where it hits him twice. I'm trying to figure out what exactly triggers that. Like, I know it's a relative, like, it's a speed and distance thing, but I just haven't been able to, like, fully... I haven't been able to reliably recreate that extra damage. Nuts. I think I'll go for the heal now and hope for forgiveness later. Oh no! Okay, the right one's the one I want to focus on, but... Oh, nuts. Still want to try and come in with full shields if I can. Or masks. I'm really good at dashing into those. Sometimes. I need to remember just ending the fight is usually the best form of damage mitigation. I might not make this. There we go. trying to get a little bit better with the magic and just generally economizing on movement, but I do get a little reckless on this fight sometimes, just with the second attack coming in. Ugh. All right, Marmu. Nuts. I could still stand to not get hit by Marmu, but obviously that was not a bad run. Oh, that was silly. He's gonna go on the roof, isn't he? Oh, maybe not. Drat. Ouch. Nope, that's definitely... I wasn't sure if he was going to be charging or roofing again. Okay, that is undeniably a roof. Ah! Why am I so bad at this? Alright, there's some mess-ups in terms of targeting stuff, but that was a pretty convincing win on Nosk. I may get 3 free hits on the Flute Marm at the start, but I throw him away by hitting the Vengeful Spirit at the wrong time. Oh, this is bad. I gotta heal. Oh, I blew it. Oh well. So that was a sloppy Flute Farm, but we're still coming in with full shields. Alright, let's see if we can be a little bit tighter on the Broken Vessel. Like, I took some really unnecessary damage in the last encounter. Now, admittedly, it was done quickly, which is a virtue, but there's really no reason for me to take damage on most of the stuff that he throws at me. That was silly. So those orange ads I used to like really hate, but now I kind of see them as a small bonus because they help you get your souls up. Mind you, they do come at inconvenient times. Oh boy. So I suppose it's conditional that you handle them in a timely fashion. Okay, I gotta make sure I get my souls up, otherwise I'm gonna be down a mask for the artist. And that will make me feel very sad. Oh, come on. Okay. It would have been nice if I could have full souls for the fight with the artist, but even just being able to have full masks for the fight is good for me. Obviously, I have enough uncertainty that comes. O gods of Palinus, show us your might. We shall attune ourselves to thee and ascend ever higher. Obviously, because there's still a little uncertainty for me in that fight, it's good to get it over with quickly rather than trying to maximize souls. Okay, not great, but... Good. Heal time. Okay, that was a foolish hit, but... I'm reluctant to do magic here just because I feel like I have an opportunity to heal soon. Yeah, well that would have been it, but I got the heal in anyway. So hopefully, Paper Dupless, that answers your question in terms of like knowing when I can heal. I've been able to take some of the lessons that I learned from the Radiant fight and just get an idea in terms of overall timings for things. Also important lessons like knowing that I get 2 hits after he does this yellow attack. I'm letting it fall apart. Okay, silly, but... And that's the Pantheon.
Bam. Finnen.
Hey, Kodiak Samurai, I'm glad you got a chance to catch that. So I don't like saying it out loud, because I hate that I am mildly superstitious about this stuff. But every once in a while, when I'm doing a battle, I get a feeling like just in the back of my head, it's like this is the run. And whenever I get that feeling, it's basically the end of Star Wars. It's like you turn off the targeting computer, you just let stuff happen, and there's just this overwhelming confidence that comes in on that fight. So, yeah. Um, I hate the fact that I always identify it after the fact, but I think it was after the second time I knocked him down. I was sort of like, this, I think I've got this. I've been having a lot of coffee, and normally I wrap up in half an hour. Um, I'm gonna try and like go maybe a little bit longer just so I can see what this new Pantheon is. I'm really happy that we got through this though. But speaking of the Force, it is with me. So I'm gonna mute my mic for a second. I'll be gone for just a brief period of time, but in the interest of long-term stream viability, I would like to to get that dealt with. And oh, what's my go-to coffee place where you are if you aren't making it at home? I've been making a lot of it at home recently. There's a cool little place across the street from me. Well, not quite across the street from me, but like within the neighborhood. It's just like a local coffee place. Really good sandwiches. I used to work at Starbucks, so I do still buy a lot of Starbucks. The weird thing about their, like, I know people comment about it being over roasted. The thing is that if you get used to it, other stuff will tend to taste different, and I've definitely gotten a taste for Starbucks. Oddly enough, I've been drinking a lot of McDonald's coffee for the simple reason that they have little like. I've really found the benefit of having coffee cards for when like you do order coffee out. So at work, the gas station, or not even a gas station, like the corner store that had like they'd have like a fairly good little coffee deal, and there was like a card, and I tended to find that my like cost per coffee was quite low when I took advantage of the coffee card. So I've wound up doing yeah, I've wound up drinking a little bit more McDonald's coffee than I thought. That's actually really cool. Mosquito, could you? I really need to go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna shut up for a bit. But Mosquito, can you tell me more about roasting coffee at Starbucks? Because I've been a barista or a partner. And I actually took the black. So like back when it was only a supervisor thing, I never got to be a supervisor. But like I really sweet talked my manager to letting me do the whole like Black Apron coffee thing because I was like super into coffee. So I'd love to know a little bit more. But I am going to leave you all to talk amongst yourselves. But the good news is I'm not going to turn on the ads because I think the way that that Twitch does the ads is really stupid. But I am going to be back in a little bit. Sorry if I missed you, Kellerman. Thank you very much for stopping by with the Jim the Eternal crowd. Yeah, this is one thing that's worth saying. Like, hosts are always nice. The best that a streamer can do is ask to entertain you. Obviously, nobody's owed a follow or anything along those lines. But one of the things I've really liked about a lot of broadcasters who do host is that they tend to bring people who will hang around and give you a shot. So it's been nice having a chance to have you in the chat, and particularly to talk about Civilization, which I don't play nearly as much on stream as I would like. But I hope you have a great. If you're having a nap, possibly afternoon. It's evening for me. It was great to have you in the chat, and I hope to see you again. All right. Before I go, I just want to verify something. Yep. Oh, whoa! Interesting. Okay, so, one, these numbers don't quite make sense to... No, okay, Okay, yeah, so 3 and then a big one, 3 and then a big one. So this suggests... Yeah, okay, hang on. So there suggests that there's another fight after my third one, which might be behind... It definitely looks like it's behind this gate. Oh yeah, because if you look, there's kind of two golden discs. Okay, so there's a fourth fight after this one. Well, what's this place? I obviously just did something irreversible, but... So one thing I am curious about is we've had these other... Nope. Oh, hang on. The blues... Like, there's definitely blue here that wasn't here before that opened. Pantheon of the Sage, seek the god of wealth and we're totally going after... This is definitely going to be the guy who's in the shop. All right. So there used to be like a list of bosses on the lock for this thing, but we'll just go in. We'll go in without any foreknowledge, and we'll see where it where it takes us. Lowly brute, blindest of worms, against thee challenge the gods? What divine whim has granted thee the strength to endure their presence where no others may stand? Fight then, struggle then, and keenly shall we listen for thy destruction. Hey, the Hive Knight! I have no idea what their attacks are anymore. It's a shame Valiant Cheese isn't here. It's like International Bee Day, isn't it? Actually, some of these moves are like the Vessel. Nuts. I was getting by without... I was originally getting by without getting hit. Oh, I ran into that one. Oh, that started off so well. Alright. Still, no major losses. I wonder if Cheese is streaming. Let me just take a quick second here. I know he's on Australia, so the hours are always odd. Good lord. It's like everybody's streaming tonight. Yeah, I actually really get to appreciate the Hive Knight this time. Oh, that sucks. I did better the first time around. Ah! I do like the almost Shazam sound he makes when... Oh, that was terrible. When he does his thrust. I don't think I did this poorly on the Hive Knight when I first encountered them. I think I've started to get a little complacent. Oh, I know what's happened. So, back when I was first doing a lot of these bosses, everyone's like, oh wow, he's doing really good for a first timer, and like now I've been getting clobbered by the game, so I don't have that same like pressure to keep up appearances. Oh, nuts. Oh! Those things take more than one hit. Alright, that was not great. Oof. So I gotta dodge these things rather than attack them. That was worth the risk. Should have jumped into him. Ugh. Unbelievable. I should be able to recover this, but I didn't do myself any favors. Oh. I'm done. If I had ended it on the artist, it would have been a happy ending. But this is just gonna be me embarrassing myself for a little while. Ooh. Okay. Well, the first thing I can do is learn to dodge these attacks better. I don't know why I jumped instead of dashed. It was worth the risk. come on. That was a silly way to go. If I can get it to the first rest zone... Again, I'm dodging the wrong way. Ooh, that's not good. That thing was doomed from the start. Alright. Let's stop being bad. Ah, I keep dodging in the wrong direction. Oof. Ugh. I thought that was going to give me a little lease on life. Alright. At least that one I got to experiment with a few different approaches. But yeah, I'm getting really sloppy on this one. So let's see if I can have a better showing. I read his action wrong. I'm done. Okay, let's try not healing. Because the healings have been pretty inconsistent to begin with. And more importantly, if I don't feel like I've got an easy out like that, I'm going to have to actually read his actions better. More importantly, I use my soul for what it's intended, damage. Okay, that was the wrong direction, but again... Oh, that was silly. Oh, Jesus. Sorry, I will make one exception to that rule, which is, if it's during a break, like if I knock him on his backside, I'll do the heal. But I really need to train myself to be just aggressive all the time in these fights, because it's really clear, at least right now, one of the easiest ways for me to lose fights is to extend their duration. I'm not good at avoiding damage. And that translating into... So, basically, if I'm not good at avoiding damage, then extending the length of the fight simply means... that I'm going to... I'm slowly going to take... Like, I'm slowly going to die. And I'm not necessarily going to learn anything from it, because I have been spending too much time trying to find moments to heal rather than opportunities to do extra damage. Now, I mean, there's some really easy stuff for me to avoid damage on. Like, I don't have to take damage on any exploding Ah, silly. Oh, sorry. I missed Mosquito Controller's message. I'm sorry. I read it, but I didn't actually. I didn't say it out loud. So I don't actually roast it. You package it and sometimes load the green beans to be roasted. It's pretty cool, I guess. I actually had a friend who worked at a local coffee shop. And there was sort of, it's like one of these places where it starts off as a roaster and then they have some success, so they open up a few different stores. And so sort of if I stopped by, like they kind of kept the door open after hours when they were roasting, and I could sort of stop by and hang out. We'd like play Netrunner. So I have a little bit of an appreciation for the coffee roasting. But I mean, the thing is, like so many things, you want it to be standardized, and so much machinery is built around being able to give you a consistent product, and it requires very little intervention. So the roasting process is kind of put the beans in and take them out at the allotted time. It didn't really feel like there was too much that they had to be doing other than babysitting the machine. But obviously roasted coffee smells wonderful, so I got to enjoy that sense. And obviously, as with any cafe, there's going to be leftover food, so I would occasionally be given a sampling. All right, so I was trying to avoid in a couple of cases, and that worked okay for a bit. Ah, nuts. I worked for Starbucks corporate for just under 2 months. Yeah, one of my, I think one of the things that kind of frustrated me about Starbucks was I thought I was a pretty good, floor level barista, but I was always waiting to be asked to become a shift supervisor, and it never seemed to happen. There was definitely a time when a pretty bad manager took over. I mean, this is going to be the problem with any chain like that, right? Which is your good managers are usually going to move up, and then the trouble ones are you don't want to promote them, but they're not so terrible that you want to give them the sack. So you just kind of shift them around. And to give you an idea, this was the kind of manager where one of the people at their store found out where they were moving to and stopped by to give us a heads up. So I think those of you who've worked in the service industry sort of know what type of manager I'm dealing with here. The no heal thing wasn't working for me, but the heal thing isn't working for me either. And yeah, the opportunities for advancement there just sort of died. But the funny thing too is that I do have, so I definitely like doing stuff. So there is in my view, some virtue in being sort of on the front lines of stuff. But when I was in camera, most of the work that I would do would be managing the camera department. The DOP is too busy lighting stuff. The first is too busy pulling the focus. The camera operator doesn't do anything but look through the lens. They're the last person on set and the first to go, basically. And so some of the more junior roles are the ones who actually do the whole management and organization stuff. And in a context of where I am still participating, so I wouldn't want to be a manager where I don't get to do any analytical work. But I do have a bit of a taste for just organizing and trying to wring the most out of the resources you have available. But it's also one of the things that I've actually found very difficult to get a role in. I think partly because, you have a bunch of ladder climbers who just want to get the promotion. But I'm usually kind of happiest when I have some level of responsibility in terms of just organizing stuff, while still kind of getting my hands dirty. That or just doing independent work, but like obviously independent work is like everybody wants to do that, so. Alright. Alright, that was a silly way to take some damage, but not the end of the world. I got a little lucky in him not doing more there. So this is a better round, partially just because I've gotten a little bit luckier in terms of what his actions have been. Alright. I'm coming back to bad habits again. Silly. Not bad. I did not know that I could get by with a heal in that. I mean, I deserved the hit there. That was pretty reckless. Alright, I mean, sloppy, but we got further than we've ever gotten. Oh god. It's been a while since I've done this. Oh, Jesus. Okay. This is gonna teach me stuff for the final fight, but... Oh, good lord. Alright. I remember this was not a particularly hard fight once I got like a better understanding of the gold ring slamming down, but let's see if we can get a cleaner win on the Hive Knight. That's a pity. One of the most helpful things I can do, too, is just stop treating every hit like it's a catastrophe. It's why I'm starting to say, oh, that's a shame, a little more often. Okay. Wow, that was silly. Yeah, so I'm trying to say stuff like that's a shame a little bit more, because like, if I treat everything like it's just a complete disaster, I'm not, like, I'm just gonna make very silly decisions. Yeah, so like, I could have dodged that, but no biggie. Okay, so it might be hard to heal, but, well, it's kind of a neutral outcome. So this is where I would get worried because I only have 1 health left, but we may have some opportunities. Like that. Which I then proceed to waste. Oh, alright. Yeah, so obviously the time we beat the Hive Knight was a little bit of a fluke. But that's fine, because I just want to focus on tightening up the fight. Now, I can go practice in the Hall of the Gods, obviously, but in this case here, I think it'd be better that I just... Like, it's not like I don't know what the... It's not like I don't know what the patterns are, I'm just not really delivering. Okay, like that was a silly thing to move in the same direction he was moving. That was a risk worth taking. I got a little unlucky on the placement there, so I'm not going to beat myself up about that hit too much. Or that earlier hit. So I might have been able to heal in there, but I don't want to get too reliant on heals. It'd still be nice if I could, use my souls for damage. But again, I won't turn down the opportunities when they come. So again, another silly move where I'm moving in the opposite direction of where he is. So overall, the thing I don't like about this is I'm not using enough soul offensively. Oh, if I could take... Okay, I was gonna say, if I could take damage during his death, that's a pretty bad one. So that's a much tighter run. God, this is like Cuphead. No! Actually, I'm curious about something. So I gotta get my health up, but... That was careless. That one in particular, there's really no... Oh, and I got it hit twice. There's really no excuse for me getting hit by that one in particular. He really likes using this ability. Okay. Who's next? Oh, man. It's been a while on this one. This music's freaking me out. Alright, Collector is definitely one I'm going to practice against, because that is a little bit of everything, and I'm not really quite in the mood to parse that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to... There's a lot of stuff to get at you on that one. So obviously the ability to just wipe these things out in one hit is a major difference between what the main fight is going to be, but... Why am I even healing on this fight? I've got all the advantages in the world. Okay, so one of the things I gotta learn to get... so one thing I definitely need to learn to get better at is avoiding... avoiding getting dropped on. So the difficult version of the, like a Psycho Mario. Someone told Collector that he'd be popular if he was jolly like the Dung Defender. Yeah, so what I'm thinking of here is Ascended will obviously make this more difficult. But one of the things I want to try and avoid this time is to not let them get the drop on me. I'm gonna have to get closer in the Pantheon fight, obviously, because well, you know, that's just how it goes. There's definitely some tough creatures that are coming in those jars. So, I mean, the start of that would have been a, you know, the start of that would have been a Radiant run there. So, I'm not going to try the Radiant on this one simply because I think the biggest challenge I'm going to run into is the fact that with the bindings, I'm not going to be able to take out the ads with one hit. That's a good question, Paper Dupless. I don't know. I am trying to hang on with my fingernails to understanding the lore, but I would not mind. Like, I wouldn't consider it too much of a spoiler if somebody in chat knew the answer to that and could answer it. I know if the Eyes of Sin was here, she'd be able to. Almost certainly would be able to answer it, but I know she's been having a bit of a tough time of it lately. So. Which is a shame, because she's obviously the one who is one of the biggest reasons why I'm streaming this. Oops. Oh, that's bad. So obviously I missed a free hit there. Oh, nuts. Oh boy. Spend too much time studying the Collector and then, Yeah, well that's, you know, Paper Dupless, you actually are getting to the main reason why I don't really care that much for, like, backseating and spoilers and such. Because what I tend to find is that most of the stuff that I want to know is in a wiki somewhere, and very often people are just quoting a wiki whether or not they acknowledge that that's what they're doing. And the problem with that is that, like, I mean, for me, one of it is just, you know, like, do you think I not know how to search a wiki? Like, but the other problem is that I tend to find very often the problems that I run into are ones that are not necessarily addressed on a wiki. So you know, I can, like, I can get into the situation where I genuinely want to know something, and it's exactly at that point that all of the people who wanted to tell me stuff I didn't want to know are, like, not anywhere to be found. But it's actually one of the reasons why Cultist Simulator was such a great game to stream, because for the alpha period there was literally nothing written about the game, and then for such a long time there were plenty of people who knew what was going on in the game but hadn't necessarily written wikis and things like that. And then, I mean, the game gets popular and there's guides and such, but it was you know, it was perfect because it was an environment in which the usual kind of troubles. I mean, it's not that they're impossible. Like, I had people telling me how to play BattleTech when they had the backers-only beta. Like, I was streaming that. This was such a stupid heal to do. The only thing I will say that I wish... one thing I do wish that the fandom wiki... Like, fandom seems to have really taken off in terms of sort of having the monopoly on gaming wikis. Ugh. Oh, brutal. I've noticed the Wikia ones are a lot less diligent in terms of lore and spoilers. So, like, I would want... A perfect example is, like, I was interested in a couple of bits of lore on heroes that I, you know, I didn't do the Dream Nail on, or you know, whatever it was. And I noticed that there would be tactics... Like, basically the lore and the tactics would sort of be intermingled, and so it was... Sometimes I'd find a little bit more than what I wanted to know. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to, like, nobody backseated, and I'm ranting about backseating. But yeah, I actually think wikis are great. I actually particularly like developer-maintained wikis. I'm getting some interesting information out of these failures, but I really shouldn't be taking the damage I'm taking on these. Oof. Alright. That was a pretty poor showing. So I do have to ask the one question. I mean, I'm assuming everybody's playing this tonight, but did anybody here pick up Mass Effect Legendary Edition? Got to watch my friend Alex the Rambler, play some of it. He got it through Steam, so there was a little difficulty with the Origin launcher, it seemed. But it was like, so one, I just like Alex, like, you know, I miss hanging out with him, and it was really nice to see. Like, it just, I generally like seeing his stuff online. Yeah. That was a wash, but still felt bad taking that hit. That's gonna pop on top of me. Oh, it's too early. Maybe I can get by with this? Nope. Drat. Ooh, danger. All right. But yeah, so he definitely had some troubles getting the game started up. But once he got past it, like the pure joy on his face as he was playing and like reliving the experience of playing Mass Effect 1 was really endearing. So I know some of you saw me do the Mass Effect trilogy. I had not done Mass Effect 3. Actually, I hadn't done Mass Effect 1 either before. So I won't rule out doing Mass Effect again, but obviously doing that trilogy is a huge time commitment at a time when I'm still trying to get through Hollow Knight. So suffice to say, like, I'm not opposed to doing it, but it's not high on my list of it's not high on my to-do list. And if you'd like to see that, I'm probably going to need some gentle prodding. Hey, really like it when you do science fiction RPGs where your choices matter. That said, I'll probably play it privately. But obviously there's no incentive for me to play Mass Effect Legendary. It'd be like me doing Resident Evil Village. Like, I've not played a single Resident Evil game. It'd be cool to hear me read all that Oh, you mean like the codex entries? Because I read every single codex entry in at least 2 and 3. I think number 1 I might have missed a few of them. Hey, Ascanius. Oh yeah, you were the one asking for Dragon Age, weren't you? I'd actually really like to do the Dragon Age trilogy, but again, it's one of these ones where I kind of need to wonder, like, am I adding anything by doing it on stream? But I also need to remember, like, there are some people who would like to see that stuff. Just to manage expectations, though, I've also not played the Witcher series. And if I do play The Witcher, it will be The Witcher 3 only. It's 150 hours? Yeah, that's gonna... I think I'm gonna need a little off my plate before I consider doing that. I really would like to try... Like, I know BioWare is obviously really well known for Baldur's Gate, and I'd really like to see Dragon Age... Just because I'd sort of like to see what... BioWare trying to do an RPG like Baldur's Gate, but as their own property. I'd really like to see what that looks like, because like obviously I played and actually liked Anthem, but that was a very different kind of game. That was not like an effort to make a BioWare style game. Or, sorry, that was not like an effort to try and make the kind of game that they were known for, but with their own sort of brand or IP. Whereas Dragon Age was obviously them trying to move beyond just the D&D license. Jock, I really like it when you play fantasy RPGs where your choices matter, especially the really janky ones leading up to major commercial successes. I am not doing The Witcher. I'll do Cyberpunk before I do The Witcher. I've played The Witcher. I haven't played it to the end. I have no problem playing games that are highly regarded and stopping them. I did not enjoy... I really tried with the first Witcher game. I really had a hard time getting into it. I can see the... Okay, I am not quite like other people who play The Witcher. I can sort of see where some of the appeal is. I also have a pretty strong conviction that I am not the intended audience for that game. By the way, okay, I will say, like, I also think I'm not the intended audience for The Witcher because I find some of the ideas in The Witcher so ridiculous. Like, okay, so like, you got this guy and he's like called The Witcher, right? And he like he fights monsters, and like one of the things about Witchers are like they're mutants, so like women find him irresistible, right? Like he like rides everything that he can find, but like Witchers, like they can't get STDs and like they can't get people pregnant. I'm like, did a 13-year-old write this? And like everything that I've seen about like the love stories in the Witcher games are like lead me to believe that like I'm like, so this is the thing. I also understand that series is really like known for these really good story moments and like these really good like the side quests, like apparently that is supposed to be the game that you study if you want to know how to do like a good side quest that makes you feel like, you know, it's not part of the main story, but you know, you really feel like it was like a worthwhile, like it's more than just delivering someone's mail. Like, so I sort of understand that my issues with that are also sort of like the counterpoint is some of the really good stuff that exists inside that game. But like I said, there's just so much really stupid and immature stuff that I know about The Witcher that it's really hard for me to try and take some of its merits seriously. And I apologize if I'm being unfair to the game. Like, this is just, I'm basing a lot of this stuff off of Johnny Big Time's playthrough of The Witcher, which was very enjoyable. But like, he hated the first game, and after he had played the second game, he said, I didn't mind it, but I felt like I should have just played the third. And Johnny and I have very different tastes in games, but I definitely get the impression that the third game is the one I should be playing. It's an entirely fair view on the way. Okay, fair enough. Like, oh, sorry, maybe it's me. Maybe that's to Mosquito Control. So I always thought it was I was weird because I don't like any of the Witcher games because they're so popular. I have heard, and actually Kodiak Samurai might say this too. I think Tuesday Gray had this impression, which was any of the Witcher games are, you have to be into that for it. Clearly, revealed preferences are such that it's not even a question of revealed preferences. Like, the success of the third game clearly indicates that if any one of those games is going to have mass appeal, it would be the third one. And again, I have every intention of playing The Witcher 3. Whether I do it on stream is another question. But I don't know, like, I mean, you all know I don't exactly have, like, I never really got on the CD Projekt Red bandwagon. I definitely was really into GOG for a while, and then, you know, it was obviously very embarrassing to find out that perhaps I should not have been as enthusiastic. Like, the biggest thing is that I've always been looking for a good alternative to Steam. This is why I'm kind of excited about the Epic Store. And so, you know, obviously I probably drank the GOG Kool-Aid a little too hard, and obviously kind of having to talk myself back down that ledge. But I was never under any illusions that, like, you know, GOG and CD Projekt Red were necessarily joined at the hip. Like, they're two different entities, even if they're owned by the same parent company. And I've just kind of found it hard to get as hyped for CD Projekt Red because, like, the biggest thing is I was always able to keep their track record in mind, right? First Witcher game is a game I didn't particularly enjoy. Second Witcher game seemed to be one that people thought was all right, but not like a groundbreaking success. The Witcher adventure game, I've never heard of a person playing that one. The third game, obviously, massive success. And like usually on the top, you know, like it's #1 on best games of all time lists currently. I mean, Deus Ex used to be #1 on those lists. So, you know, I'm not quite sure what the standard is for that. Witcher Thronebreaker is the reason Cyberpunk was not a GOG exclusive. Like, most people haven't even heard of that game. Gwent seems to be an ongoing concern, but like, it's not Hearthstone. So the fact of the matter is like, CD Projekt Red doesn't exactly have the kind of track record to back up people's like fanaticism for that, that developer. And there are other developers who I think do actually have track records to back. Like, so, I'm not really comfortable with the way Rockstar treats its workforce. It's really hard to say that Rockstar doesn't deliver pretty consistently. Like, I haven't played Bully, so I don't know if that's as strong as some of the other entries, but, like, I guess the thing about Rockstar is, yeah, there's a really long period between their games, but they really do seem to, like, knock it out of the park each time they do deliver it. Firaxis is another one, right? Like, even their like smaller, less successful games, things like Sid Meier's Railroads and that, I think kind of hold up over time. But the most recent stuff that they've been doing, right? Civilization, XCOM. I mean, who would have expected XCOM 2 after XCOM? Like, XCOM was a great game. XCOM 2 was phenomenal. War of the Chosen completely transformed that phenomenal game. I think Civ 6 is really good, but I appreciate that may not be a consensus view. And even like their smaller stuff, like I think Chimera Squad's a really interesting game. I know it wasn't to everybody's taste, but just generally I think Firaxis has, especially as a smaller, like it's obviously a division of 2K, but like as a smaller developer, I think they have a pretty worthwhile track record. So this is actually one of the things I find funny. Like, I don't really rank 2K all that highly, but if you think about the developers that they own and like all of the properties that they have, it's actually kind of an impressive publisher. Like, I think it's the BioShock series, so like all the Firaxis stuff, Rockstar. There's obviously like their sports games. I've never really touched any of them. But they definitely don't really believe in they definitely believe in kind of having these rest periods between their big franchises. Like, there's not going to be the annual Civilization. There's not going to be the annual Grand Theft Auto, as opposed to sort of Ubisoft and sometimes EA. Like, EA doesn't really do the yearly Battlefield, but obviously there are franchises that sort of have their regular entries. I suppose 2K is kind of getting away from that in the sense that they've got their sports games. They kind of seem to have a little bit more of an up-to-date one. But yeah, this is the funny thing. Like, I don't really rate 2K that much as a publisher, but when you take a look at like what's inside their portfolio, they have some really strong developers. Oh, they also have Borderlands. I know Gearbox is owned by someone else now, but I'm pretty sure 2K has at least a few of the... Ugh, that was careless. Okay, this should... That was a risky heal, but that was oops, that was silly. Oof. The bees coming out of his mouth is the stuff of nightmares. That was silly. I think I really want to try and at least get one more where I beat the Hive Knight, but it's pretty clear that I've kind of hit the edge of my capabilities, and it's a few minutes away from midnight. I actually, like I said, I finally kind of got my productivity back. So I was really hoping to get a little bit more of my private well, not just private projects, but some of my private study. Like, before streaming, I was really like ready to get some more of that done, and I'll admit I'm not quite feeling that. I'm not quite feeling that now. But I want to try and force it. The only reason I could get away with that heal was because he was doing the charge across the map. Oh, I'm done for. That, like, in his face heal was a pretty reckless move, but... Oh. You know, one interesting approach might be to try and hit the bees that he spawns to get more soul. Ouch. It's kind of a moot point on that one, I suppose. All right, well. I probably should be trying to heal at some point. Well. So heals first, then I'll... I thought I had a pattern for dealing with that, but... Like, the one thing I really don't want to rely on is getting lucky in terms of where the hits are coming. I'll admit, the animation on this really feels like Cuphead. Okay, let's see if my lessons on the Collector paid off. So the priority on this one are the jars. Ah! Okay. I'm falling to the one thing that I knew I struggled with before, which was the where he falls. Oh, that's a real pity. Okay. That was a little bit of a better showing than the first time I went after the Collector. I'm gonna try one more time. If I can't get past the Hive Knight, I think I'll call it for tonight, but I think if I didn't get those early, like, those careless hits at the start, I might have had a better showing. Oof, that's not a promising start. Ouch. I deserve that. Okay, so hitting the ads does count. So I don't want to prioritize hitting them, obviously, but being able to get a little extra soul, that's not something to complain about. Ah. But you just spawned them! Alright, that was silly. I'm gonna try one more because that was not great. I know I keep promising to finish and then I don't, but I guess the thing is there's a bunch of good people online who I can host. so I don't want to lose that. Although, okay, so please don't consider this like a contract, but I was actually mildly intrigued by, like, I know it's sometimes hard to get a view about what people want to see. I definitely have some ideas about what I'm interested in streaming. But just maybe as a litmus test, especially based on the fact that we were talking about some different games earlier. Do any of you have a game that you'd really like me to stream that either I sort of left or otherwise like haven't been doing? I mean, you can say something for me to stream again too, but like, I don't know, is there something you'd like to say? I'd kind of like to see you do X, either again or in general, because like I have a pretty good idea of what I want to be doing over the next little while. But I actually do find it a very useful exercise, even if I don't do the games that people mention. I tend it's really helpful to get an idea in terms of what people are interested in. Especially because, like, there are definitely some games that I've been offered where I'm like, I don't think anybody would want that. But you know, it turns out to be super popular. So like I've got a pretty clear, I think I have a pretty clear request for like Dragon Age and Witcher style stuff. Oops. Oh, brutal. What was the game with the mechs you were playing last week? Phantom Brigade? We'll definitely be doing more of that. I think that game's due for an update next week. Although I guess last week I would have been playing Industries of Titan. Anyways, Phantom Brigade is definitely, it's almost certainly the mech game. That's cool. I'd like to see slower games from you, like maybe Slay the Spire or Industries of Titan, Cultist Sim again. Any deck builder would be cool. Less action-oriented stuff. Okay, that's interesting. The funny thing is, this Hollow Knight is definitely one of the like. So I tend not to do a lot of action-oriented. I tend to actually not to do as much action-oriented stuff. I do enjoy it. Like I really like the new Wolfenstein. Well. Like, not so new anymore, Wolfenstein. Oh, brutal. Brutal. Okay, that was not a bad run, but I think I'm gonna say that's the end of our time together. But yeah, definitely there'll be more Phantom Brigade. I do want to do some more Industries of Titan relatively soon. I'm actually curious, Mosquito Controller, so I think we were talking about this. I actually played Slay the Spire for the first time when, or I guess it was last week. I actually beat the first run. I don't know if you're supposed to or not, but I was pretty happy with that. Griftlands? Hey, another Clay game. Cool. cool. The last deck builder that I sort of played was Nowhere Prophet, which I wouldn't mind going back to. So I will ask, when you say slower games, would you include Phantom Brigade inside of that? Because I kind of consider that to be in the same. I kind of consider that to be in the same box because it's turn-based. But it's kind of I like to get an idea in terms of what what people think of on some of those. There's a few that I've got kind of in my back pocket from indies, but okay, cool. And Ascanius is actually mentioning a few that I've been wanting to do. So I bought the Dishonored games. So basically anything by Arcane Studios, it looks like. Deus Ex by the Montreal Square Enix folks. I've only ever played the very first Deus Ex, and I've never played it to the end. So that's one that is on the list, although I will admit that it's a little bit further down the list, just because I'm trying to do a little bit of a balance, like what Mosquito Controller is pointing out. Like, so I think on my day-to-day, like the day-to-day stuff that I'm interested in, I tend to play quite a bit more action than I think at least my old or usual format would sort of suggest. Hollow Knight's a little bit of an exception again, sort of based on the exercise that we're doing here now, right? People sort of letting me know what their interests are. And I will say I am not, like, there's a couple of very action games that I have in mind, but I'm gonna try and like fold it in so that the majority is still like Stellaris and Industries of Titan and Phantom Brigade and things like that. But there are going to be a couple like that. And, I would say probably Dishonored is one that I would be interested in doing on stream at some point. What was another one? Again, I also don't want to commit to too many like specific games because I know people are going to get disappointed if I don't get a timeline for them. But there's also a couple that have come up in conversation at other occasions that I'm interested in trying. The other thing too is because of the EA Play membership, like I'm not always just relying on keys to play stuff. Like now I have a little bit more breadth in terms of material that's sort of new and I can give a try. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to get. I kind of want to finish some of the stuff that's on my plate. Get a little bit more sanity back in the schedule, and then I can sort of focus on like doing proper runs of games and completing them again. So, for those of you that don't care for Hollow Knight, I appreciate how patient you've been with me on this. Anyways, I am getting close to 4 hours, and my goodbyes are always too long. So I'm gonna quit to the main menu, and I'm gonna take a minute here to load up my browser just to see who's streaming. Because there were quite a few the last time I checked, and then I couldn't say goodbye fast enough. So we'll see who's still around. There's possibly more people online now. Okay, there's somebody I really want to host, and I don't know if he's finishing soon. Okay, screw it. Thank you very much, Mosquito Controller. For those of you who like XCOM, I don't always get to host Azure Wind, but holy smokes, he is one of my favorite streamers for XCOM. He knows this game incredibly well. I actually found him playing BattleTech. I think he found me playing BattleTech. But he is a really great guy, really solid, really solid attitude, and he has definitely been doing very well Twitch-wise. Like he is just short of partner level stuff. Actually, there's a couple people who used to watch my channel who are currently watching him right now, so this is going to be a little funny. Anyways, I'd love it if you guys would hang around. He might be wrapping up after this mission. But Azure is a real treat. I don't know if you haven't seen him, you should definitely hang out because he is really worth checking out. Anyways, guys, I will be back Monday. I got to record some more Elder Scrolls and Cultism and all of that. But Monday, Wednesday, and Friday again this week. Tuesday for pre-recorded video. If you're here for Hollow Knight, that will be Friday. If you are here for some of my slower stuff, Stellaris Monday. Probably Phantom Brigade on Wednesday. It depends if the new update's coming out. If the new update isn't out, then we'll do Industries of Titan. Until then, though, stay safe, have fun, and please treat Azure Wind well. See you next time.